One Halloween night, a group of friends decided to go for a walk in the woods to enjoy the atmosphere of the holiday. At first glance, the forest seemed like an attractive place. Bright red leaves covered the ground, lanterns glowed on the trees, and small houses were decorated with cobwebs and pumpkins. As they walked further, it grew darker and creepier. Soon they noticed that they could not find their way out of the forest. Every time they thought they had found the way, they hit a dead end. But that wasn't the worst part. They began to hear strange sounds, rustling and rustling of leaves, coming from somewhere deep in the forest. One of the girls noticed that they had already passed through the same tree several times, and it was impossible. They tried to escape from the forest, but everywhere they turned they met only new trees and darkness. They began to panic, not knowing what to do. Then they heard another sound, which made them stand still in terror. They heard some distant but clearly audible buzzing sound. Initially, they did not pay attention to it, but then the sound grew louder and louder. Soon they noticed that the sound was coming from somewhere above and that there was a huge swarm of bees above them. The bees began to attack the friends, and they started running in different directions, trying to escape. But it was no use. The bees chased them everywhere, and soon they were tired and exhausted. When they had no energy left, they fell to the ground and began to die slowly from bee stings. Halloween night ended tragically for this group of friends. The next morning, when the rangers found their bodies, they were already unrecognizable. They were completely covered in stings and swelling from bee stings. No one knew how they had ended up in this forest, but it was clear that it was a place not to be. The locals said that the forest was inhabited by evil spirits and curses, and that those who entered it would never return. People were terrified, and the forest has remained an unexplained mystery ever since. But the scariest thing that happened in this story was that an unknown person found the phone of one of the friends who had been killed in the woods, and began sending messages and calls to other friends who had been with them on that horrible Halloween. The messages included gruesome pictures that showed them dying from bee stings. No one knew who was sending these messages, and everyone was afraid they were going to be attacked by someone or something scary. But whoever it was, they had not forgotten that terrible night that changed their lives forever.